is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
If Bud was the best, I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He's hands down. He's the best. He's the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him respect. He just went up 2 weight classes, what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion. But I've only won 1 of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith has publicly confronted Floyd Mayweather for minimizing Terence Crawford's achievements following his landmark win over Canelo Alvarez. Smith emphasized that Crawford's accomplishment was nothing short of historic, becoming the undisputed champion in multiple weight classes, a feat no other fighter has achieved. He passionately defended Crawford's legacy, insisting that the boxer has earned every ounce of respect through hard work and unparalleled performance. According to Smith, Crawford's victory over Canelo wasn't just another win. It was a defining moment that solidified his place among boxing's all-time greats. Smith made it clear that Mayweather's negative remarks can't diminish what Crawford has accomplished, nor can they overshadow the significance of his triumph.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance.
Jeff Mayweather didn't hold back when reacting to Terence Crawford's shocking victory over Canelo Alvarez. He emphasized that the loss will leave a lasting stain on Canelo's legacy, not just as a champion, but as a once-dominant force in his division. According to Jeff, Canelo was the undisputed king of his weight class, a fighter who commanded both status and fear. Yet, he was humbled by a challenger who dared to rise in weight and confront him on his home turf. For Jeff Mayweather, this wasn't just a minor setback. It was a defining blow. He pointed out that great champions are remembered by pivotal moments in their careers, and unfortunately for Canelo, his defining moment may now be the night Terence Crawford dethroned him.
But either way, he was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What does this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on him because even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever in an absolute master. In Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. I think it does because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another future Hall of Famer, still losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might have been.
Stephen A. Smith was left in awe after witnessing Terence Crawford's stunning victory over Canelo Alvarez, and he didn't hold back his admiration. Being present for the historic moment made it deeply personal for Smith, who called the night unforgettable. He emphasized that no one in the history of boxing has done what Crawford just accomplished, moving up in weight to decisively defeat a dominant, undisputed champion like Canelo. Smith hailed it as a career-defining performance that elevates Crawford into rarefied air among the sports legends. This wasn't just a fight, Smith declared. It was a turning point, a monumental shift in how we define greatness in boxing. According to him, Crawford's triumph isn't just part of boxing history. It is history.
This was Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind because we only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, I was there. Because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
Following Terence Crawford's dominant win over Canelo Alvarez, his trainer made one thing clear. Crawford has nothing more to prove. In his eyes, Crawford has reached a level where respect should no longer be a debate. It should be automatic. Yet, despite dismantling one of the biggest names in boxing, critics still find reasons to withhold the recognition Crawford has earned. That ongoing frustration highlights a deeper battle, not in the ring, but in the court of public opinion. His trainer emphasized that Crawford isn't even thinking about who's next. After a performance of this magnitude, there's no need. This fight wasn't about chasing names or belts. It was about solidifying a legacy that cannot be denied. For Crawford, the message is simple. Greatness has been achieved. The world just needs to catch up.
Terence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who's one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who has 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. Stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up and he never accepted the fight. And so with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terence Crawford. And they're saying that Terence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terence Crawford is ducking and Terence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24...
And one of the boldest assessments yet, former champion Timothy Bradley directly compared Terence Crawford to Floyd Mayweather and didn't hesitate to elevate Crawford to the very top of boxing's greatest of all-time conversation. For Bradley, this wasn't just about Crawford defeating Canelo Alvarez. It was about redefining what it truly means to be pound-for-pound number one. He acknowledged Mayweather's brilliance and technical mastery during his era, but argued that Crawford has now done something even greater, moving up in weight to dominate a fighter like Canelo at his physical and professional peak. This isn't just greatness, Bradley asserted. This is another level, a level where only the sport's immortals reside. In Bradley's eyes, Crawford's win has shattered all hierarchies and placed him in a realm few fighters have ever reached, possibly above even the legends that came before him.
It might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his resume down.
Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. offered a thoughtful, measured perspective on Terence Crawford's victory over Canelo Alvarez, drawing a clear distinction between Crawford's triumph and Floyd Mayweather's earlier win over the same opponent. Jones noted that when Mayweather defeated Canelo, the Mexican star was still young and developing, talented, but not yet the force he would later become. Floyd used his elite ring IQ and timing to outclass an inexperienced version of Canelo. In contrast, Crawford faced a fully matured, battle-tested Canelo, a fighter who had reigned over his division for years with dominance and discipline. Despite being a naturally smaller man, Crawford dismantled the seasoned, powerful version of Canelo in convincing fashion. For Roy Jones Jr., that's what makes Crawford's victory extraordinary. He didn't just beat Canelo, he beat the best version of him, Jones said. That's what separates good from great and great from legendary.
Great in Canelo Alvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does, and the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to fight it, and he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think it's on decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights we'd have put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time to see them fight.
Former world champion Duke McKenzie was left stunned by Terence Crawford's dominant performance against Canelo Alvarez. In his eyes, Canelo, one of the most skilled and powerful fighters of this era, had no answers to Crawford's relentless pressure, blinding speed, and surgical precision that McKenzie didn't hold back in his praise, calling the showing unbelievable and incredible, and labeling it as one of the most complete displays ever witnessed in modern boxing history. But beyond the spectacle, McKenzie emphasized the significance. Crawford didn't just become undisputed. He proved himself to be virtually unbeatable, even against elite, battle-tested champions. With a tone of deep admiration, McKenzie declared that Crawford has now set a standard so high it may remain untouched for generations.
Know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight, not way before the fight. You know, in the build-up to this fight. Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight, you know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, that all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable, and Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense. Went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs, you know, hitting him with the head and the body, the little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close a round, knowing how to win rounds.